week we talked about, you've got here's Jesus is the vine, and then we're the branch that comes off. And not just to look at all of the, not just to look at all the green growth up here, but to look at the connection. Did this deepen this connection to the Lord? And the other thing that you have to think about when you're evaluating that is that each of us connects to God in a different way. Not usually there's like 8 different ways that people connect to God. Some people are contemplatives like me, and they connect to God through prayer and silence. Other people, that's sheer torture, and they don't connect to God at all that way. Maybe they connect to God through worship or through creation or through reading the scripture, or through
doing God's
working,
work,
or through social justice. Or I think there's 8 ways that are the major ways. So the other thing to consider is that when you're evaluating all the things that you did and the things that make you grow, is to consider that most of us, all of us on staff, probably connect to God in a different way. So like, I don't think most of you are contemplatives, but you might be somebody who connects really a lot through worship, or maybe you're somebody who connects to God a lot through study, like Michael. And so anyway, there's a survey that I give to my class, and each student has to they take this survey. It's called the Spiritual Pathway Survey, so that they can discern how is it that you connect to God, because you have to know that, because if you're going to take a retreat, not everybody takes a silent retreat and does like is cloistered and spends 3 days in prayer. Some people take a retreat and they spend a lot more time worshiping, or they go out. Like my son-in-law went all the way through Bible college, and he just suffered because he goes, I don't connect to God like these people do. This is just torture. And he felt like a second-rate citizen all the way through Bible college, until he took this spiritual pathway assessment. And then, to honor the way that God made him, he discovered that he connects to God primarily through creation and through creative works. So to honor that, after he took the test, he took a 3-month retreat, and he just traveled to every hot spot in the United States to look at, the Grand Canyon and Glacier View National Park and all the pretties, because that's how he connects to God. And so part of the rule of life, or part of doing like a retreat, is not just doing it the way somebody else does it. You have to go, okay, so here's how I connect. How can I spend time with God connecting? Because we all need to have time where we're just connecting to God. And that usually means you have to unplug and have a silent retreat of some sort. And it doesn't have to be a silent retreat, but it has to be a quiet retreat, so that you can focus on the Lord and hear from him. So when you're thinking about doing that, you have to honor the way God has made you, and how you connect to God. So that's something to really pursue too. And so I can email you guys. I think I've already emailed you guys the test, but the test is super helpful. And if you want it, I can email it to you. But it's really great to use with your disciples, because you might have a disciple who's a contemplative, and you're not a contemplative at all. But you need to know that about your disciple. Or if your disciple
that's good.
Is really connected to like creation and stuff, you need to have them honor that and foster that and nurture it. And
go camping.
Yeah, and then say, okay, so instead of saying, did you spend time in the Word this week? Not that there's anything wrong with that. Obviously, everybody needs to be in the Word. But you may want to say, how did it go? Did you take some time in God's creation this week? You get what I'm saying? So all of your disciples this year will be getting, from one of my classes, they'll be getting that inventory. And it would be helpful if you guys could support that and kind of reestablish it. One of their assignments in my class is to talk to a classmate about how they connect with God, and then to share stories about that God connection. This is how God connected me. More specifically, they share a story about an example of how God used that. Yeah, do you have?
Do you think that maybe your assignment could be to talk about it with your disciple?
Yeah, I could
Maker.
change that. But you guys, just so you know, because that's very important. Because otherwise, like I've heard from probably, I can't tell you how many students this year have, they feel less spiritual because they don't, like the prayer and praise does not connect with them at all. And because that's just not how they connect to God. And I go, well, you don't have to feel bad about that. You just have to find the way that you connect to God, and then foster that. It's not that you shouldn't pray. It's not that you shouldn't read the word, but you need to do whatever you can to build this connection here. So that's all I wanted to share with that. And I can email that, resend that test to you so that you can become familiar with it. It's a great tool. So for your own personal use, and for your kids, and for your disciples. So that's all. Quick.